Your question, the member from Kenora-Rainy River.
Thank you, Speaker. To the Premier. Speaker, in the recent throne speech, this government reaffirmed its commitment to Ontario's First Nations people. And yet last week we learned that a long-promised public inquest into the tragic deaths of 7 First Nations youth in Thunder Bay won't be proceeding now, anytime soon, or maybe ever. The Chief Coroner, an officer of this House, made the decision not to proceed, saying that ongoing issues with the underrepresentation of First Nations on juries in Thunder Bay is an issue, and also that the complexity of the issue is a contributing factor as to why there will not be an inquest. Speaker, 7 youths who have had to leave their home communities in order to get a high school education have wound up dead. Families and Northerners have been waiting for over 10 years for answers, and they're still waiting. Will this government take immediate steps to rectify the underrepresentation of First Nations on juries so we can finally go forward with this inquest?
Thank you.
Minister of Aboriginal Affairs.
Thank you, Speaker, and thank you for that question, and thank you for raising this very important issue. I can tell the member opposite that about this time last year I was in Thunder Bay and I met with the parents of the students who had been killed. They had been brought into one of the local high schools, and they were doing some preparation work, getting ready for the inquest, which was to start at about this time. Along with that, we have the Yakabuchi report, which made certain recommendations about the selection of jurors on criminal panels. And the coroner's jury, the coroner, has also suggested that those same recommendations ought to be implemented into coroner's juries so that there's the sufficient representation of First Nation members on coroner's jury. Accordingly, he has adjourned the inquest so that he can make arrangements to perhaps work with some of the recommendations in the Yakabuchi report to ensure that First Nations participate not only in criminal juries, civil juries, but in coroner's juries. Thank you.
Thank you. Supplementary.
Speaker, Jethro Anderson, 15. Karan Strong, 18. Paul Panachis, 17. Robin Harper, 18. Reggie Bushy, 15. Kyle Morriso, 17. Jordan Wabas, 15. Their mothers and families deserve answers. You have to wonder if it was 7 kids somewhere in southwestern Ontario who died tragically, would there be any hesitation to overcome the roadblocks and call an inquest to get to the bottom of it? Speaker, will this government finally take action to address the systemic issues with jury selection the coroner cited as preventing a public inquest from going forward, and call an inquest into the deaths of these youth right away?
Minister of Children and Youth Services.
Minister of Children and Youth Services.
And thanks to the Minister of Aboriginal Affairs for providing clarity on the first answer. Ontario is very committed to building strong relationships with First Nations, Métis, Inuit and urban Aboriginal partners, and working together, Speaker, we can improve opportunities and outcomes for Aboriginal youth and their families. We are currently developing an Aboriginal children and youth strategy to transform how services are designed and delivered to improve outcomes for Aboriginal children and youth. And this outcome is underway. It's very community-driven, Speaker, integrating culturally appropriate supports for children so that services can better meet their needs. And as the new Minister of Children and Youth Services, I look forward very much to spearheading this in cooperation with my colleagues and my critic for Children and Youth Services.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No question. The member from Halton.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.